Hello friends, July the 29th. Well, this game has reached a whole new level. I guess it's really easy to detect that since Mars has entered Gemini on July the 19th, literally everything has been amped up into a whole new dimension of display and of recognition and of discourse and of comment and of understanding. Mercury's world is truly where the focus is right now in Gemini, and Mercury is just about to turn retrograde on the 5th, and that will be actually the window between the 5th and the 28th of August. That is the window Mars, which now is in Gemini, is getting back to the places which it had when it turned retrograde, in the 26th degree of Gemini, and then a few weeks later when it again turned straight ahead in the 9th degree of Gemini. These are the two markers when Mercury is truly linking back into the intention of this whole 2-year cycle, which started basically in October 2022, on October the 30th to be exact, with Mars going backward in the 26th degree of Gemini, and then in January 2023 reaching direct motion again on January the 12th, which happens to be the exact same day the comet, the green comet, that very special green comet, has its closest approach to the Sun. So Mars and that comet are linked together, and I did go a bit deeper into this in my, I guess, second last video. Anyway, the high point, I already pointed it out, will be the Mars-Jupiter conjunction on August the 14th. That's kind of where all the lines meet. That is center stage. And now look at just this. I just get you started here on this. This is that moment. As for Greenwich, that place on the planet which I'm using as a fractal representing the whole planet, kind of if you shrink down Earth to one single point, that's the most the one which gives you the best picture, so to say. And it makes sense. It's a zero meridian. Naturally that is an artificial decision, however it is commonly agreed upon. And then the 51 degrees 29, that is 1/7 of a circle away from the equator. 51.26 and something is the exact 1/7, but this is really very close to that. And it's kind of, again, a nice synchronicity to know that that was the place chosen for the Royal Observatory, which really has been at the helm of understanding the planet as one with the different time zones. And so you get the picture. 1/7 actually of the circle is resonating with the infinite. The number 7 holds that energy, so it is an opening to the infinite, and it's really a funnel point where the energy is coming. So anyway, this is that moment when Mars and Jupiter have an exact conjunction, and this is not far away from the square with Saturn. So it is really more than just a Mars-Jupiter conjunction. It is getting that pretty exact square. I guess on the 19th, Mars will square up with Saturn. And I have the exact dates here. I just didn't show it yet. Yes, on the 19th is the Jupiter-Saturn square, and on the let me see, the Mars-Saturn square is, I'm just curious, I wanted to have that ready, then I forgot again. Anyway, it's just a few days prior. Here it is, on the 16th. So anyway, we could look into these charts too. I don't want to do this right now. I will stick to my plan here, just to keep it concise. Now let me show you the next chart here. So this is the high point of the month, so to say, energetically, globally, and this is the chart of that attempted murder on President Trump. Actually, I now have found that image where I derived the exact time from. This was I don't know what the sources of this, but this is actually a transcript of the on-site communications, I guess, which were released. Anyway, 18/11/33, I said it in my last recording. This in itself speaks of, this is a supercharged moment naturally, and in synchronicity with something much, much bigger. And then the 44 here and the 22 here at this axis, all these double numbers. And not long after, 15 or 20 minutes later, there was a exact Sun Moon square at 22:00. Anyway, just want to say, look at the resonance of these two charts. Look at the Moon here, and when Mars and Jupiter meet. And this is 1522. It's a bit hard to read here, but you see this is so this isn't over yet. That's all I'm saying here. This is a paradigm which has been set like a big stake in the ground, orientation post in the space-time continuum, where everything had been given a new meaning, you could say, in the context. So this was a super important moment. Whatever it will bring the future, it will be resonating with that event. And interesting, as you know, as I have it here in small on the side, this also resonates with that New World chart which I'm using. It's the chart of the Declaration of Independence, but it is much more than that, as I have been explaining, as it is really the birth of a new idea of how society can live together on this planet. New rules, new maxims. It was a great idea, and it is still on its way to become fully manifested on this planet with all its natural, you could say, challenges to be integrated first, and we are right at the cusp of that to fall in place. So let's just move on here. Let me see what I have lined up next here for you. Right, okay, this is the one. Okay. Now this is a new moon of March the 9th, 1777. Why does that date matter? Why does that new moon matter? This is the 9th, or let me put it that way, the 9th progressed new moon of this chart of the Declaration of Independence. Now, regardless of which time of the day you're using, and this is really the big thing I want to tell you here, regardless if you use 4 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon or whatever, with different rising signs, it really doesn't matter. All boils down, when you look at progressed new moons from that time on forward, this is the 9th of them, the 9th time. Sorry, I'm now going back in the wrong direction. This is the 9th time the sun and the moon are in the exact same spot since July the 4th, 1776. And this is the chart for that place where that baby was born. So it definitely has lots of significance, and I mean this is valid for all different times chosen for that original chart. Doesn't matter, we don't have to go there in discussion. The only difference will be when exactly that new moon will manifest itself if we take that arc of time from the beginning when it was signed to that 9th new moon. It could be a few weeks, few months, either side, depending, I guess. So the difference would be something like, I'm guessing here, a few months at the most, naturally, on either side. So this is basically the re-beginning of the year 2024 for that contract, for that great idea which was set in motion on that day. So anyway, what stands out is Mercury here right at the top of the chart. It couldn't be much more exact for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 2243. This in itself tells you, yes, this is a moment of turning into a much more deeper veneration of the Mercurian principle of communication and understanding and insight, and really starting to see the deeper meanings of things. And Mercury is very, very well placed in Aquarius. Actually, if you look at the bigger picture, because the progress planets, they move slow. It's 1 day after birth counts for 1 year. So it was actually just a few years ago that Mercury had resumed direct motion in the progressions. It had turned around 20 degrees and something, and is now back in the 23rd degree of Aquarius. So moving forward again since roughly, I guess, 2009 or something. This in itself shows that we are starting to integrate Mercury as a nation, as a global community, as it's much more than just the American population. So that's 23rd degree of Aquarius. I just want to go back there 1 second, tell you one quick moment. Big bear sitting down and waving all its paws. So the description here is the self-discipline which results from an intelligent development of individual faculties under proper training. Okay, you get it. This is what is happening, what is going on, what we are in the middle of, which in a nutshell is discipleship, as Rudyard puts it. That is the cover of the book, which fell off, but you get this is the source. And so this implies that something really big is happening all over the world, that we're coming to age, that we are stepping into this role of listening to someone who knows more, who has deeper insights. And this is a process which goes over many, many years. However, what I want to point out now is this horizontal axis, which is the 17th degree of Gemini and Sagittarius. The 17th degree of Gemini, 1640, that is where Mars and Jupiter meet. That's why this conjunction will really fire something up big time. Now, just for those of you who are following the Sibley chart, this is how this new moon shows itself geometrically. If you evolve this chart over here according to the rules, of the secondary progressions. It is exactly the same chart as the one prior. 1926 is where the Sun and the Moon meet. This one is just, again, based on this particular time of the day, whereas the former one is a generic chart which is true for all approaches, overarching, and so that's why this is the most important chart to rely, to refer to resonate with. Now, so far we looked at the global chart, with that resonance of the ascendant with the base chart, the Sibley chart, the one Rudyard used and worked with, in which he had excellent results. I just want to quickly refer you here to this link which I shared and will share again underneath. This is an article Dane wrote on the riddle of the USA horoscope. It's a beautiful article, really goes into why he thought and understood this was the best moment in time to use. So this resonance in itself, that this global energy of this Mars-Jupiter conjunction upcoming, and the Moon being in this critical degree where we really we can't others than keep that big event as a resonator in the background, which will be at the core of whatever development we are getting toward. It is, there is no value, no judgment in this. This is a pure observation. Now, one particular thing about this coming month of August is that both the lunar north node and the black moon, which is the collective shadow, and where we are coming from, what our assets are in this present time as individuals, as a collective, both in that hexagram 18, which is work on what has been spoiled. It's a can of worms, in other words. That's the image which is given. And it is about rectifying, correcting what has gone wrong before. That is what this particular part of the zodiac, these early degrees of Libra are all about, between 3 degrees 52 minutes and 30 seconds up to 9 degrees and 30 minutes, 1/64th of the zodiac. So the lunar north node is in this hexagram between July the 19th and December the 4th. That's a big window. All about cleaning up and taking care of stuff which has gone wrong. So this is a great time of correction. And now the black moon, this is the spot where the moon theoretically is farthest away from the Earth. And this spot moves constantly. The moon has an extremely complex orbital structure, very dynamic. It changes that direction where it's closest or farthest from Earth constantly. Actually, in a 9-year rhythm, it moves through the whole zodiac. You have to think of it as an ellipse. So the farthest point of the ellipse is moving roughly 1 sign every 9 months. Yes, 1 full round every 9 years, 1 sign in 9 months, and 1 degree in about 9 days. So anyway, these roughly 6 degrees will play out between August the 3rd and September the 23rd. August the 3rd till September 23, this is the core period of going deeper into the shadow. So this will be a very intense period. Naturally, we can already know that. It is getting more crazy, there's no question to that. Just look at the Olympics, the opening ceremony, and you know it all. It's everything is bizarre, abstruse, crazy. Yes, sometimes you really don't know what words to use anymore. It's really getting off the chart. And I guess it is to make people who have not yet been going there to start doing this, and maybe looking in that far corner in their living room and having some, you can see their gray matter is starting to rotate. That's kind of where we want to have people going to, and probably that's the reason why that is all allowed, and that is kind of part of the movie, the script, that Shakespearean drama we are involved in the middle of. And naturally it's not all that comfortable if you're in the middle of that whitewater emotional and whatever crazy multi-dimensional reality we are pushed through, this bottleneck of fast evolution. And then you have all the solar flares. I mean, just in the last 3 days, let me show you. I mean, the sun has really, really amped up. So this is from yesterday. These were the sunspots, the active sunspots. There was this largest flare on the 28th, which was M9. Here you have an graph of the sun, and that was published also yesterday. And they say there's multiple, naturally a series of M-class flares. I guess there were about 20 in these 3 days. And many of them have sent out what's called coronal mass ejections. You see it here billowing out from the sun. It is a static pictures, but if you go to the space weather page there, you see the movie. It's really visible how this cloud is pushed away from the sun. Sometimes it's hard to tell, goes to the other side or towards us, because this is where we are looking at the sun here. This is how big the sun is really. That disk is in front of the camera just to block out the bright sun, so it can photograph just the background. That's kind of how this picture is to be interpreted. So yes, 2 or 3 more CMEs are following each other, which is calling what they call a cannibal CME, coronal mass ejection, which kind of, it's like several waves, and the next wave is moving in the wake of the first one, and therefore having kind of the shelter, the protection. It moves faster and kind of takes over the wave before. For that they multiply in amplitude. So we definitely could be in for some great aurora sightings again in the next 2-3 days. That's the projection. The 30th was mentioned as the beginning, so keep an eye open if you're go outside at night and see there might be aurora sparking. This is the last 7 days alone. You see on the 27th, 28th, 29th, it has really been increasing. There's about 6 flares in the M5 plus zone. The biggest one is an X1.5, which we didn't have for, I guess, about 5 or 6 weeks. So it's really, the sun is getting way more active again. As all that energy is also on the astrological level showing that it's increasing. It's always nice to see this confirmation from the sun's perspective. So before we go any further, a little deviation, I want to throw in something about the Mayan calendar, which is at a very special place right now. By the way, this is thecosmosofin.org. That's my old website. Here you can find the information on the Maya calendar, also on the I Ching and the Zodiac. That's the two reasons I have this site still up. I do not have access anymore, but here you can click on the calendar, and then below here actually you find all the links to more description, and also to where you can find your personal reading for the Mayan calendar or any other date. This is the link which still works. Yes, I'm just testing it here, showing it. Yes, that's where it goes. That said, today's day it will bring you to, which is the blue planetary night of the 7th month, the 30th day of the year 2024. So that is today. Now let's just jump into the calendar here for a moment. This is that day, 10 Akbar, that's the 30th now. This is already a little ahead. In my time zone, it's still the 9th day of this present 13-day cycle. So this whole new calendar round started on the 8th of July. With the generation of a new light. That is the idea for the first 52 days of the 260-day sequence, is about the generation of a new light. That's the word which is used. A new idea, a new trajectory, pursuit, approach, whatever you want to call it. We're in the second wave, the second 13-day wave, which started on the 21st of July. The 25th of July was interesting. Actually, this is the wave of Ish, of the shaman, of the wizard. So this is a particularly powerful 13 days of truly seeing the complexity of what a new creation entails, seeing the many layers of psychological interventions and mixtures and multidimensionalities. The shaman stands with one leg in this world, with the other in the other world, so it is truly making the bridge. It is the connecting both, and the day out of time. Okay, let me go back a little bit here. The day out of time is a super interesting feature, which is the last day of the year according to that particular way of interpreting the Mayan calendar. And the 26th of July then is the new beginning. So that last day is called the day out of time. And it was a particularly powerful day. I don't know if you have memory of it. It was last Friday, the mirror of self, a day which truly brought deep insights to the fourth, and it was a 5 in many ways. It was the 5th day. July the 25th has the 5 in it, actually the 5 square, and if you do it, the numerology of that day is 7, and then 25 is another 7, so again also the 7 in there. 14 plus 8, which is the year number 22, so there is a power number there too. So it was a super interesting year. The last day of that year of reflection, and then we moved into the storm. That is the Mayan signature of this next year into July 25, 2025. So really the beginning storm, which is the blue rhythmic storm. Actually it was rhythmic, means really it is that getting into a rhythm, and we're really feeling that to happen. There is a pulse now going through creation, more and more to be felt. It's the heartbeat of the cosmos also, almost you could say. and we are more and more able to align with that and to fall in line and to generate this cohesion, this beautiful synchronization with a cosmic force. And that's why I keep saying this, Oracle Girl Jacqueline Hobbs is that's the one thing she really emphasizes and wants us to engage in, is every day for 20 minutes just to sit and enjoy yourself, your body, feel the connection energetically you have to this greater universe. Feel your heart, feel your feet under your ground, and just be here regardless, eyes open, eyes closed, but don't do anything, just be here. I also like to call it the defragmenting of all that unresolved stuff which has piled up over the last 24 hours in your energy field. You're allowing all that to settle and to find its way of integrating with that bigger picture of yourself and of everything else, as we are everything else. Every one of us is a different version of it. We have to also connect with that greater self and fall in tune, and in that sense we create the bridge which allows us to truly become co-creators. And the more of us are doing that, we will succeed. There's no question. It's just the faster this happens, the better, the less harm, the less casualties on the way. So that's why we're working on so hard to speed the process even more up. Beautiful, beautiful signature for the start of this whole new year, 6 Kawak. And meanwhile, Saturday was a portal day. That was the 27th, 7.5 day to celebrate, and today is another portal day, Spirit of the Wind, a great day to really tune into this communicating energy and share thoughts, share ideas. Also, because the moon is in Gemini today, I truly felt that change. That really helps a lot to bring it out, and that's sometimes the most tricky part. Anyway, so now on the 5th of the month of August, Mercury turns retrograde. And it will be retrograde till the 28th of August. And it will turn direct again at 21:24. Now look at where the moon is when on the 5th of August Mercury is turning retrograde at 4 degrees and 6 minutes here in Virgo. The moon is exactly where Mercury will be returning to. So there's already the link made. So it is about understanding emotions. That's what will be the core theme of what's going on from a very rational place, from the Virgo perspective, to analyze why we are feeling in a certain way or other. And it is a way to get more and more clear whatever is manifesting over the next few weeks will be a step toward that integration, understanding why do I feel the way I do, what is really the connection to my reality, how is my reality in reference to other people's reality, what are the different, you get the picture. All that complexity is truly to be investigated. That is what these coming weeks will be about. Interesting also the 16 degrees 40 axis here of fixed signs this time, but in perfect resonance with that 17th degree Jupiter-Mars conjunction we just looked at before. So there's a friendly aspect from Jupiter and Mars. So Jupiter and Mars in general is an activation, a great activation of taking on a new project, going in a really boldly into something new. And the sign Gemini is about interaction with people, sharing ideas and speaking about things, debating and whatnot. All of that will gain lots and lots more fire over the coming weeks with the Leo rising for sure. Venus and Mercury here in the conjunction too, with Venus in the first degree of Virgo here joining. This is a very powerful conjunction. So yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to these next few weeks. Actually, in the middle of it, there will be a Mars return. And as I was already laying out for you, and I guess it was the second last or third last video, where I talked about the last days of July, you can go back to that one, how powerful and important Mars in Gemini is, and that is June the 9th till September the 4th, that is the window Mars is in Gemini. And on the 16th of April, I guess it is, that Mars will come to the 22nd degree of Gemini. Means there's a Mars return for this chart. Again, regardless which time of day you're using, this will be the case. So it is a renewal of that original Mars energy, which is hidden in this original chart of the Declaration of Independence. Kind of that initiative, that intention is revived with Mars coming back to the same place. I mean, it already is all on fire here naturally. That's what we're seeing. That's why everything has gone a few more levels up, down, south there. But let's just jump ahead a bit. So yeah, I showed you the connection of the Mercury and the Moon here. Now keep this axis in mind. 25th degree of Cancer and Capricorn here in this global chart for the moment when Mercury is resuming direct motion, which literally is when we come out of that retreat phase and are ready to now take action according to what the insights have brought to light, what we have realized. Now is the time to actively step out of the shadow and be seen. Beautiful again also that this degree where Mercury turns direct is in a perfect sextile with the American nation's Mars. Again, a friendly aspect. Up here, in this area it would be, if you do the overlay the transits, you get the picture. The Moon, 644 in Cancer at the time, is pretty dead on exact on Jupiter of this independence chart. Very promising. I think we will go deep through the valley for the next few weeks. Yes, that is necessary. That is probably coming to a head with the Black Moon lunar node lunar south node conjunction, which is exactly on the last day of August. Here you see at 6:55 the lunar node moving backwards, and the black moon, the mean lunar apogee to be clear, which again in an earlier video I go more deep into why I'm using this mean position. Means it's the axis around which the moon's orbit oscillates, which makes total sense. You use kind of the central point, which is the focal, and then the moon naturally with its waving going up and down. It's like if you measure the level of the ocean, you have to not take the high wave or the low level of the wave in consideration, but the midpoint, the mean position, as if the ocean would be totally quiet. That is kind of the idea. Anyway, you get the picture. The black moon, the shadow, the south node, which is wanting us to go back and look and uncover what has gone wrong in the past, and then Juno, the one which is about the people who take responsibility and who truly feel that the impact of all these realizations. It will be really difficult for many people to go through this time, as so much is coming into the open. That is what is definitely shown with this chart, also with the moon opposite Pluto here in early Leo. Yes, it will be a roller coaster of the best sort we are getting into, as if it wouldn't be too crazy yet, but it's definitely, it has to even go further crazier, higher, as I already mentioned. Homia here in a perfect T-square to the 2. Homia, which is about reformation and turning everything literally upside down, recreating it from scratch. This is the fire dragon, in my opinion, Homia. In the first degree of Scorpio, I should add on. Anyway, I could say a lot more about this chart. Actually, I haven't really touched on that one yet. I chose the chart for New York for a change. New York is, as you know, the financial center of this planet. So I'm expecting things really go difficult for a while. So be prepared. Cash is probably one of the safest places to be in this time. If you have investments, consider that thought. It might go pretty wild. We might see something like a manufactured crisis, for sure it will be, but nevertheless it is allowed by nature, so it is part of the script. It is part of the process of going from A to B. The more we are prepared, the better we will fare through it, but it is definitely on the horizon. Ceres here rising, together with Pholus and Quaoar. This is really the sign of turning the tables, of something of much bigger magnitude all of a sudden coming into vision. Also Maki here, actually in the lead, together with Salasya. A very particular configuration of minor planets which have great influence over many years. Particularly the Maki Salasya opposition is active for something like 20 years, between 2015 and 2035, which is, if I would put it in a nutshell, it is the joy of creating something totally new. Maki, which has that courageous going into danger just for the thrill of it, because in that thrill there is a connection established with a higher dimension, something of the divine. It is literally the free climber going up a crazy dangerous climb, but in that extreme danger your attention is so crisp, your consciousness is so clear. That is definitely the kind of the pull to go into such extreme situations in the first place. A very, very sacred masculine quality Maki brings in. Anyway, I guess I do love Maki. I actually have it well placed, as you could think. I have it conjunct Jupiter, so I'm really feeling that energy and I'm thriving in it. I've done crazy things in my life, you can believe me. Anyway, okay, this was August the 30th, when this kind of center point heights of the intensity of this meeting the shadow, and 2 days later Pluto goes back into Capricorn. Yes, this will be a real important window starting on the 1st of September. Here you have it, Pluto at 29:59:59, just having crossed over that 0 mark. 1 second earlier it was still in Aquarius. That's how exact we can determine this, how exact the planetary motions are understood and tabulated. This is a super powerful moment, which actually happens right at midnight in Greenwich. So again, shows you this is not a every year's affair. This is a special year of Pluto, and it is a special occasion as it's the last few weeks of Pluto in Capricorn, going back here to 29 something, and then, as I say, on November the 19th already back out for good, not to go back into Capricorn for 250 years almost, maybe a little less, 230 or so, but for a long time. Finished with that chapter. So this is the finishing touches which will be added in going back into the depth of that structure and experiencing it once more from inside out, that grinding deep engine of power, of structure, of holding on, of not wanting to let go. And I mean, yes, big money is there involved naturally with Capricorn, and all of that, governments and corporations and you name it, all that is once more revisited in all its glory. And I wouldn't say that we find a solution for all that within these few weeks into November the 19th, but definitely it's a last clear inspection and a assessment which will then serve as the backdrop, the starting point for the resolution, the final resolution of cutting through all of that when we are back in Aquarius, which again is a big phase. It goes into the year 2040 and beyond probably. So this is a whole new chapter, which then finally we can, yes, we something has to be sealed by November 19th. There's no question on that. So this is really super exciting. Also with the part of fortune at 002 in Cancer. This in itself is a little detail which shows you how powerful this chart really is, this moment will be. There's many more things I could talk about. I mean, it's just on the heels of Mercury turning direct just want to show you this little nugget. Mercury at the moment when Pluto goes back into Capricorn at 22:34. Let me just zoom you back here to this chart here. 22:43 in Aquarius is Mercury. That is exactly opposite that degree where Mercury will be. Again, this is the 9th progressed new moon, which is the 9th time the ignition of a whole 30-year period of history for the American nation in particular, or for the New World idea in a more expanded way seen. Very, very powerful that these 2 degrees match Mercury exactly at this opposite end. Anyway, that same chart for Washington, D.C. Pluto back in Capricorn. 1954 Pisces rising. 1954 Virgo at the 7th house cusp. Just want to show you this connection once more. 1928, that's where the collective shadow of this independence chart is positioned at. Will be right here at the meeting point where we say hello to each other. I really like that. The 7th house cusp, often look at it that way. It is where the opposites meet, where we meet friends and foe, where really the interaction happens. And naturally, as I went really deep into the last 2 videos, this is where the where that progressed new moon was at 1926. You see 1928 Virgo. It's exactly opposite. So yeah, I mean, yes, this chart is standing for a whole 30-year period, has just been opened, that new book of 30 years, that new big stretch of history, which we might be a few months in, or just a few months still to go, depending again of how you interpret the time of that signature, final sealing of that idea, that Declaration of Independence. Anyway, this is that moment. So you can again see, yes, it is centering around the United States of America. That is, I guess it's obvious to everyone who truly follows the fine script of what's going on. This is where really the most dynamism, I would say, is manifesting. Also that beautiful Mars Jupiter here at the 4th house, flanking that power axis. Which brings me back to a little back in time from where we just were to the 9th of August. Why is this moment important? That is when the moon will be exactly farthest from Earth. Again, taking in consideration that osculated position, osculating lunar apogee, it's called, which means it's the true position where the moon is farthest from Earth. This would be the mean position here you see at 4 degrees and 30. However, what is interesting is that on that day when the moon is farthest from Earth, it will be exactly conjunct the south node again, which totally underlines what I said before, that this is a month where lots and lots of shadow work has to be done, and we have to face it. We have no way around it, so it could get pretty dark, so just be prepared. And on the 21st of August, that is when then the moon is closest to Earth, perigee. The moon here will be at 18 degrees and 50 minutes in Pisces, in a close conjunction with Saturn and Nessus both, and again with that 19 degree 28 minutes black moon progressed new moon degree. So it's all kind of building up on top of each other. So yes, be prepared, particularly for the United States. This will be a really big month, many things happening, and it may well be happening with us knowing that this is necessary, what is coming, and holding the ground. Super important. Keeping our positive vision, knowing that the best is yet to come, that we live on a most beautiful planet, that we are surrounded by miracles left, right and center. Just even our own body is a miracle in many ways. Just think of the billions of little chemical reactions which happen every moment to make us able to stay here physically in this dimension. So that is truly to be celebrated, and then things will lose their edge and it becomes much more enjoyable when we are really, in a way, no more that much attached to any outcome, because nature in the end is the one who will bring the solution, and nature can work through us. The more better, the more relaxed we are, and the more we are able to cope with whatever comes our way. Last but not least, well, just one more thought. This is, by the way, Donald Trump's ascendant and descendant, so again something which hints that he is a theme of our times. No surprise there, I guess it's obvious. So this is okay, one real final last one is this one I wanted to show you. Yes, and let me see if I pulled up that. Here it is. I just did that before. This is the Chiron returns for the American nation. You see 2008 for the excuse me, for the Declaration of Independence chart 2008. So the first one was on April 20th. Then the second Chiron return will be in November, actually just a few days after the elections, and the third and final one in February 2025. Now this time I only brought up the first one, which is relevant right now, which is really started this big quest for finding the reason things are not okay. It is the diagnose part which is the hardest to come to terms with. What is wrong really? Once we have understood what is wrong, then it's not that difficult to find the right remedy. This is true. Every good doctor finally is the doctor who finds the true cause of what is causing the illness. That is what is happening right now. So interesting again, I want to just end with this again. This 7-8 month from April till November, this first phase of the recognition, 1737 Sag rising for Philadelphia. I took Philadelphia as truly the birthplace of this nation, of this idea. and that's also where, in that sense, the governance should be, I would say, and not so much in Washington, which, as we know, is anyway not even part of the United States of America if we go down the rabbit hole. So that's why I start now more and more using Philadelphia as the center point around which everything falls in place. Just leaping back to my first chart I had, you see it is again almost that same axis. So we are in full motion to get where we should go. Thank you for joining and listening. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing or giving it a like. Seeing a comment of yours, always lovely. Thank you so much also for contributions, all the links of what I talked about, and also for support and such. Following my further posts and so you can find underneath. Thank you for being here. Love you all. It's tremendous times to be alive. It's a once in a lifetime experience, so we better enjoy it. We will be able to tell our children, grandchildren for many generations to come. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you.